On a particular occasion, one of my friends, a pianist, the guy had to shout at me, like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And some of those moments had to challenge me. Yeah, so I finally had to make this video. My journey as a musician, currently on the surface level, might seem smooth sailing. I'm a drum coach here on YouTube. I coach a lot of you guys in private, and I believe I'm an averagely good drummer, to an extent. And I'm currently touring the world with some, great artists. Okay, that last part isn't true. But yeah, for my years of experience of playing the drums, I've gathered a lot of experiences. Aside the fun and enjoyable part of playing the drums and just having fun as a musician, I made some really bad mistakes. Some really, really bad mistakes that hampered my growth as a musician until some point where I was able to find my way out of them. And that's the essence of this video I'm making for you guys today. This is not just to sit down and talk, because I feel like talking. No, the reason for this video is to make sure you guys don't walk into the same traps or the same mistakes that I made. So I would love it so much if you're going to be patient with me in this video and watch till the end so that you don't miss out on any of the advices I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. Let's get right into this video. So speaking about the years I've been playing the drums, I know some of you are very keen to know that I've been playing the drums since the year 2009. Even though I've been playing before then, I was playing with the marching band of the Boys Brigade sometime around 2006, 2007. But 2009 was the first time I actually played drums in a church service. The story behind me playing drums was quite, should I call it, miraculous, because that was on a Saturday, just a Saturday before the Sunday. I and my dad went to the church and we just had to fix up a few things in the church, fans and all of that. And I just got on the drums, eager to just have fun and just play. And I started trying out something I always heard drummers play while I was much younger, in my former church, but I discovered that I was actually getting it. The first group that most African drummers learn, I was trying it and I was actually getting it. And we finished setting up in the church that Saturday, and on Sunday, surprisingly, somebody was like, "I heard you playing yesterday, go and play the drums." And I got on the drums and I started playing. Like, I'm not even exaggerating, that was my first time of playing the drums actually in a church service, and I held down the groove. It's literally like a miracle whenever I go back to think of that experience. And everybody in church was showering me praises like I have been a professional for a long time, but that was my first time of playing. So after that Sunday service, I was returning back to school. I was in the dormitory, so I wasn't able to play the drums for a couple of years. I resumed playing the drums in 2011, 2012. I left the dormitory. So what happened for those couple of years, 2011, 12, I just kept trying to figure out things by myself until 2014, when I met someone that changed my life, literally changed my life. And that's when I discovered I've been making a mistake all along. Now this leads me to my first point I'm going to be sharing with you guys in today's video. The first point is mentorship, or let me just say absence of mentorship. Now, the story of how I got to meet my mentor was a very funny one. I'm going to be sharing that story with you guys right now. So in my secondary school back then, or high school, whatever I want to call it, we had, I had this secondary school teacher that just joined the school then, and I was always the person. We had this morning assembly we used to gather every morning to do. I was always the person playing the drums every morning, and that sport was, I was just unbeatable, let me use that word. And I was just playing that morning, and after I finished playing, somebody came to me. I've heard of him before. I heard that he could play, but I was so full of myself, I felt like nobody was better than me. So he walked up to me as a teacher. You get far older than me, but then just walked up to me and was like, "I heard you play and I think you can be better, this, that." And the funny thing was, right there I told him, "I don't think you can teach me. I don't think you're up to that standard." And that was one of the worst things I think I've ever done in my life. Like, I didn't know who I was speaking with. I didn't know this was someone that was literally going to change my life. So, but he just quietly, agreed and walked away. The funny thing that happened was the next day, we had the same morning assembly. I finished playing. It was time for students to move into their classes, and he just told me, "Let me play a little bit." And man, this man destroyed the whole place. And this time around, I was the one running after him. I had to now go and beg him, "Please, I want to learn." So one thing to pick from this particular experience is be humble. In order to find a good mentor, you need to humble yourself. If you are in your first months and years of playing the drums, like you're just beginning the first couple of months and years, one thing you really need is a mentor. The right mentor just knows the right things to show you. You get, they come into your life and they know exactly what you need. They hear you play and they're like, okay, I know what you need. You're struggling with this, I'll show you this, I'll put you through this. And I know some of you might be wondering who my mentor was. My mentor was, his name, we called him then Sir H, Mr. Henry, or Henry Livingstroke. So this is a shout out to you. Thank you so much, sir, for helping this little boy. I'm very grateful. Now here's the thing you need to know about mentors. They don't come into your life to teach you everything you need to know. No. Most times they come into your life to just be your guide, to set a path for you to follow. Yes, because some people make this mistake of thinking that their mentors are going to show them everything. No. Now, I'll use myself as an example. When I met my mentor, what he did to me initially was, I was so interested in the wrong things. He brought my attention back to the right things. He taught me about rudiments, taught me about dynamics. When he was teaching me these things, the first time he hosted the class for me, I was like, what's this man doing? What's this nonsense? It literally didn't make any sense to me. You get, but he knew that that's what I needed. He had to put me through all these things. Now, he did all of that. One of the things I think he did the most I really, really enjoyed was, as at that time, I didn't know there was, there are things like going online to go and watch drum videos. I had this privilege of, he gave me the access to his phone where I pick up his phone, and there were just thousands of videos on his phone. So I could always pick up his phone. I saw people that's where I discovered people like Chris Coleman, Calvin Rogers, There were lots and lots of videos to watch on his phone. And not only did he just have lots of videos, he had the right videos. Because one thing that happens to drummers, why lots of drummers, we have access to YouTube these days, but you find that lots of drummers are not using it properly. The reason is because I feel there's too much videos out there. There are too many videos out there. So when you go on the internet, you get confused. I tell my students in my private lessons that everything I'm teaching them privately, most of them I've taught them online one way or the other. But the key thing is, if you go to my channel currently now, you might just get confused, searching different. That's what happens. But this man had the right videos for me to watch. So you get, it's not just about going to YouTube and watching all the random videos. Any video you watch, you end up getting confused. So basically, the advantage of having a mentor is they provide guidance. They tell you the specific drummers to watch. Yes, they'll tell you the drummers to watch, because if you watch everybody, you don't belong anywhere. They'll tell you the specific rudiments that you should learn for a start. They just guide you properly. So please do yourself a favor by looking. Now, what happens is, most times you don't find the mentor, sometimes they find you. So make sure you have that humble state of heart to see someone that you can call a mentor and submit to that person. Now, speaking of rudiments, I just mentioned rudiments right now, and that was one of the mistakes I made, and lots of drummers are making this mistake also. Now, I should I say I was just oblivious or ignorant of rudiments. I felt like I could do without them, and I was just, having fun on the drums, and it will shock you. I've done my analysis and everything, and there are lots and lots of drummers that are already gigging that do not have ideas of rudiments. They just play basically and they run away from the rudiments because they feel like it's a lot of work. Trust me, you're making a mistake, and I'll explain that to you. Now, please don't see this as a shade or don't get offended by this. I myself was guilty of this for a very long time in my career. Not too long, but I was guilty of it for a long portion of my career. But what I would advise you to do is, it's not too late today to start learning about the rudiments. Do you get? So if the 40 rudiments scare you, because once you hear 40 rudiments, you're like, 40? No, you don't need to learn the 40. That's the funny thing. So you can always start from, I would advise, between 5 to 8 rudiments. I myself, everything I play on the drums, all the crazy things I can do on the drums, I don't think I make use of up to 10 rudiments total. Let's say, maybe around 10 or thereabout. But for a start, there are basic rudiments: the single stroke, the double stroke, the single paradiddle, all the paradiddles we have, double paradiddle, flammadiddle, anything that falls into that category. You learn your flams, basic rudiments. Anyone that scares you, leave it for now. But when you start this journey with rudiments, you see how much it helps you. I was talking to a student of mine lately, and I told the person, I said, what rudiments help you do is, for instance, you play very crazy stuff. People ask you, what did you just do? With the help of rudiments, you can break down, yes, I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. You get? It helps your playing more articulate and makes it easier for you to explain what you are doing. I advise you learn your rudiments, because the benefits of rudiments are just countless. They help your hand, they give you serious flexibility. Yes, they help you with flexibility, and they give you infinite ideas to work on, because every rudiment has inversions. You get, we have like the paradiddle, we have the inverted paradiddle. We have means we can just substitute our kick in the paradiddle. If you watch my videos a lot, you see me, I've done this countless times. You can just substitute your kick for, substitute your hand for your kick. You get? So there's so many things you can do with the rudiments, and I wouldn't want you guys to sleep on the rudiments. By the way, if you're gaining knowledge from the few things I've been sharing so far, I would love it if you could smash that like button and subscribe to this channel. Let's move on to the next point. Now, the next thing I wish I knew as a beginner is how to tune my drums. And trust me, lots of drummers are guilty of this. Lots of drummers don't know how to tune their drums, and literally it's very simple. I've even made a video on it. I think I'll leave a link to it. Tuning your drums is not difficult. You might be a very good drummer. Lacking the skill of being able to tune your drums will make you seem like a very bad or terrible drummer. So learn how to tune your drums. I'll give you a guide or a hint. Now, we watch lots of videos online, crazy, those are drummers you look up to. When you watch their videos, you hear how clean their drum sounds, how nicely it is tuned. Now, the best thing you do is you take that audio, you go to your drum, whether your personal drum or your church drum, and you try as much as possible to get that same sound. Do you get? Train your ears to be able to listen. You hear boom, boom, boom. That's how I do. That's how I learned how to tune. I didn't learn any miraculous method online. No, I just use my ears. Now, if I can hear it, I bring it down. If it's a size 10 tom, I'll check it and try it on a size 10 tom. You get? Avoid trying size 10, a sound for a size 10 tom on maybe size 12. You get, or size 14. So the best thing you just do, listen to others, see what they've done with their tuning. Try. You might not get exactly the same because the quality of our drums are not the same. Some might be using like $1,000 drum set, and you'll be using a quite cheap drum set. So, but the main thing is try to get as close as possible to that sound that they're getting. One thing that being able to tune your drums is going to save you from is embarrassment. Trust me, we don't want to be called up for a show and maybe they just bring up drums that are not tuned and just like tune it, and then you're struggling and the sound engineer is like, can't you tune your drums? It's going to be quite embarrassing. Why am I saying, or why am I bringing up this point? I've been to lots of churches. Yes, I've been to lots of churches. It's more common in churches, and then you see drummers, they can't tune their drums. As common as tuning the drums is, they can't tune, or they just throw away the resonant head and you just have one single ply drum head, and it's not just making sense. Learn how to tune your drums. It's also very wrong to just tighten everything. Everything isn't meant to be tight. I've had cases where I've had to literally beg some sound engineers and some drummers to please let me just loosen the head of your bass drum. Yeah, for our genre, that's gospel, most times our bass drum is loosened, our floor tom is loosened. You get? So learn these basic things and learn how to tune your drums properly. It will save you from lots of embarrassment. Now, on to the next thing I wish I knew as a beginner drummer. This is the importance of playing with other musicians. Now, this might be one of the most important things that I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. Now, most musicians or most drummers enjoy their moments of, alone practice. In the practice room, they're killing it, dishing out all the chops and everything, and sometimes forget the importance that most of these things you are playing in the practice room, those your crazy chops, you're not always going to be playing them. What you'll be doing most of the time is you'll be playing with a band. Most of the times you're playing this instrument. But we forget that is very important, and we focus so much more on practicing alone than practicing with a team. Please do yourself a favor, drummers and musicians, all musicians. Do yourself a favor of having a band that you belong to, that you can play together with the band, play with the pianist, play with the bassist, play with everybody. Over time, you understand your role as a musician, you understand your role as a drummer, that in the band, this is my role, this is what I should do. You build this synergy with them, because no matter how many crazy chops you have, you need to know where in the music those chops are required, or else you're just going to be very lousy and it's not going to sound very nice musically. So let it be a positive change today. As you practice alone, try to, in case you already belong to a band, call your band members. If you practice once, call them, practice, let there be a balance between your personal rehearsals and the team collective rehearsals. Now, just like I stated in the previous point, majority of the time you're going to spend playing this instrument, you're going to be playing grooves, not chops. So you need to understand on a scale of preference what is more important to you. So this point is understanding the importance of grooves and tempo. Because we tend to rehearse so much chops, if I ask every drummer now, be very honest with me, what is your practice ratio of grooves and chops? We spend more time practicing chops. I'm not saying that is bad, but I think we should begin to normalize practicing grooves for more, because when we are playing the drums, majority of the time we play the drums, we are playing grooves, not chops. Do you get? So try to sit down, get creative with grooves, you know, build that pocket. You can play one groove and the next day you play it sounds better, the same thing, just because you've built a better sense of grooving. Do you get? A similar issue that drummers have is not being able to maintain tempo. This one is a very serious thing, because I myself, I struggled with this for a while. Like, it was bad, because I just had this thing of, once we start off slow, all of a sudden out of the blues, I will just begin to, you know, increase my tempo. And if they say I'm too fast, I begin to fall too low. Not knowing the right balance to maintain your tempo as a drummer, this can be a very serious problem. Yeah, but the best way to solve this issue, in fact, I had a very weird experience with this. Not one, not two, so many weird experiences. On a particular occasion, one of my friends, a pianist, the guy had to shout at me, like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And you know, some of those moments had to challenge me. I tell people in my online classes that I spent, I think, around a year or two practicing with metronome non-stop. So I'm already giving you guys the hint to, you know, conquer this nonsense. You need to have a metronome. You know what a metronome is? The device that helps you maintain tempo. Get a metronome, you know, practice with your metronome. Have that click. 1, 2, 3, 4. It keeps you, you know, at a particular tempo. Try not to run above it. Try not to stay below it. Try to stick to it. It's going to be boring, but trust me, you come out victorious. You come out sounding so much better. I did this, and today I can't remember the last time I had issues of, you know, playing a groove and falling behind the tempo. No, that doesn't happen again. So please, I would advise you work on these stuffs. When you play with a loop, you get in a live performance, or you play in a song, an actual song in the studio, this is going to be very embarrassing. Yes, the first time I had to record in the studio, I was falling behind. Yeah, I've grown past it, but the anxiety that comes with playing in the studio or playing with a loop for the first time, it's going to make you, you know, fall. And imagine if you've not even worked on your sense of tempo. It's going to be very, very embarrassing. So before you get the opportunity, just in case you've not played in a studio before you get that opportunity, take this as an insight to knowing what actually happens there. Your tempo, the ability to hold down the groove and maintain your tempo, is one of the most important things that you should have in your arsenal as a drummer. So one other key thing I want you guys to take note of, this is a common habit amongst drummers. Now, there's this thing where you're practicing and people are listening. You know, maybe you get to church on time and you're practicing, and then people are just, you know, maybe they came for rehearsals and they're listening and they're watching you. Try to, as much as possible, to avoid that. In that state, most times you're not practicing. You're just trying to impress maybe that babe. You understand now? So most of the times, your actual practice is when nobody's seeing you. Do you get? Because whenever you see people, there is this temptation to impress. Once you're in that zone, you stop practicing. You get? Your practice session should not sound, you know, so nice, and you trying to, once you're doing that, you're no longer practicing. So I just thought to add this one in for you guys. Stop practicing where people can see you. Yes. Or even if you do that, make sure your mind is taken off from the fact that people are watching you, and stick to what you are doing. So I believe this video was helpful, guys, and I want you to leave a comment on which of these mistakes you're currently struggling with. Let's work on it together. I'll be there in the comment section to, you know, provide solutions to you guys. And most of the mistakes I stated here, I've already made videos covering most of these mistakes on this channel, so do well to check those videos out, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.